I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Vienna Utility Board for April the 21st, 2023. Let the record reflect that I've taken roll that all members of the board are present with the exception of Joe Thorpe. Having a quorum, we will proceed. The minutes from the March 17th, 2023 meeting have been printed, posted, and circulated. Are there any corrections to the minutes? No objections, and the minutes will stand approved as posted. First item on our agenda today is under unfinished business, and that would be water quality testing. Greg?
The last results we got back is below the acceptable limit, so we're good.
We are keeping a closer eye on all of that, simply because of all of the changes with the minimum limits and reportable levels and all that, but we are still in good standing, so no issues there. Next item this afternoon is the ARP discussion. We really don't have any updates on that. We still haven't spent any of the money. That money that's been there, the 1.5 million, is still there. Once we finish the 45th place project, we will be transferring that money over from the city to pay that bill. So that bill is fully funded. That project is fully funded. So next item this afternoon is our 5-year plan. You all have a copy of that. Last week I received the fourth and final section of the long-range plan for the city. It's my intent to include the 5-year plan for the utility board and our emergency response plan in that document. So if there's anything that you want to update, please do it shortly so that we can get it in with the plan, and that will be another part of that document that we present for the people to get whatever information they would like. So any additions or questions about the 5-year plan today? All right. So we move to the 45th place water line. Craig? Mike?
This past week, we had the pre-construction meeting with Weber. He had indicated he was going to start that project 2 to 3 weeks to discuss some issues that might be a concern that particular project, and that is one of the issues is the accessibility of the residents getting in and out. So what we proposed was if you take off the 45th place and the T section and come across the field, it's about 187 feet. What that allows us to do, if we stone that, it could, while we're working on 4th Avenue, because it'd be limited going in and out for people to end, start beginning, they could access out through, as on a temporary basis, out to 45th place, get them back Grand Central. So 4th Avenue is a very narrow road, and with them removing the entire lane, one of the drive lanes, we can see it or not. It's pretty narrow. People park on this side. There could be a possibility we'll stone that. We'll do those grindings or recycle. Issues beyond that.
And what's going to happen is for that, it's a 60-day contract. But for those 60 days, there will be no on-street parking, and we're going to make it a one-way street because you can't get a fire truck or an ambulance in for emergency services, and there is absolutely no way you can do two-way traffic when one entire lane is tore up. And so, Craig, I counted yesterday, there are 20 houses on 4th Avenue in that section. We're going to need to notify all 20 of those residents of what the plan is so that there's no surprises when it comes time to go to work. And if We have to get signs made so that, you know, guests that come to these people's houses know that you can't park on that side of the road. And we need to put some signs out there that say no parking this side from May 1st until July 1st. Okay? Whatever the date is when Dave finally gives you a, you know, a target date to go with. All right? I went at the end of that street. Now there's that oddball offset.
There is.
Okay? And I did not realize how nicely that last lot has, you know, they've got a nice tree right there. They've got that nice white fence. More than likely, we're going to have to go around that and not take that out. But there again, that resident may say he doesn't care. We'll see what he says. But, you know, obviously a straight shot would make it much better. But the other thing too is we need to notify all the residents of 45th Place that is going to be open temporarily. Make sure that they understand it's temporarily, because they do not want that traffic to flow in their neighborhood. I understand that.
We will, but it's like Mr. Weber said, the residents of 45th Place is also, they're going to be closing the whole intersection down at 45th and Grand Central. So if I don't put the road in, 45th Place will be stuck in their houses for 3 to 4 days. So.
Right. But once he finishes 4th Avenue, there's a good chance we're going to have to turn the traffic the other way and make it one way outflowing. Okay? So there's some challenges there with that, but at any rate, we'll just make it, as long as we notify everybody and nobody gets surprised that, you know, they can't do what they've always done, we should, you know, it should ease some of the heartburn.
I don't quite understand why the one-way thing, but
Wait.
I understand one lane being open, but the one way, I
Yeah.
really don't understand that. So
You don't live down there. Okay?
yeah,
What are you going to do when the guy's coming in and the guy's trying to go out? There's no other lane
we're not,
for you to get over.
we're not having the whole lane closed. Or we're going to be, like he said, he's working, he's running 150 feet of pipe a day. It's 140 feet of pipe a day. In that section, he'll have closed that one lane, but he'll restone that. So it's only a blockage of 140 feet at the max. People can go in and out. I mean, going to gravel. I think one way is just really adding a lot of issues to the residents, because they're going to come out and say, do I go this way? Do I go that way?
No. That'll be up to you to put signage up that says arrows one way. Okay? But if you have concerns about it, I'll be glad to talk to Mike again.
I'll talk to Mike. I'll tell Mike. I just don't.
No, I'll call Mike.
Okay, you call Mike.
I don't want you saying that
I do
Mike,
got
this is
concerns
wrong.
to that, because I don't think it should be one way. I think one lane, yes. One way, no.
Okay.
So
We'll see what Mike says.
I think Mike probably has in his mind that we're going to be closing the whole lane down. We're not doing it. So we'll be in sections. So
You don't live there. Okay? I am telling you, when they put those big excavators in there and you're tearing that whole lane out, it's hard now to get in and out of that street with perfect conditions.
I live on the street that he tore up right now for the last 2 months, and then yes, I do know what they're dealing with. So. Yeah.
Could you get that fixed by 4 o'clock today?
So, trust me, my road is a lot narrower than that one is, and we still allow 2-way traffic on it. I give him heck, but he's terrible job over there.
We'll see what Mike says. Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk to
Mike
Mike.
thinks-
Or you can talk to Mike. It doesn't matter.
Well,
I just think Mike needs to understand we're only going to be having that road section closed off 140 feet at a time, not the whole thing. We'll talk.
no parking on either side of the road.
Gotcha.
One way in. Okay. It'll make it flow. We'll see what Mike says.
Okay.
All right. Yeesh.
We'll get Russ involved.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I was hoping Jerry would be here today.
Yeah.
You know,
Me
now
too.
that we're right down to it, he's a ghost. But okay, and it's like, I mean, they're not going to be happy because all that traffic's going to be routed through their neighborhood. But There just is no other way to do it.
It's gonna be dusty. It's not gonna be a pleasant place to
But
be.
it's only 2 months,
Right, absolutely.
and then you won't be back in there again ever.
Yeah. Not like Steve, 18 months.
Any other questions on 45th place? Mike, anything else?
No, you're good.
You notice he didn't even consult you? What do you think? One way, right? I told Craig I'd call Mike.
I just closed the whole road, both roads down.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
I'm on vacation.
I thought there were only 9 houses on that street. I counted them yesterday. There's 20. Yeah.
There's a
No way.
lot.
Huh?
There's a lot of
Yeah.
houses. It's
Yep.
a busy street too.
Yeah. And it's not as wide as this tabletop right here.
There.
So. All right. 12th Street lift station improvement. How we doing?
I haven't heard a thing, Mike. So it's,
Yeah. I called them today. They have received one pump, and the others are in transit. So I don't
Will
know
they
if that
send him
means
on
on
a
a.
slow boat or what?
My guess is it's on a boat somewhere.
it's coming up on almost a year.
Probably. Been a
Okay.
while.
Okay. But it's still working fine, so that's not an issue yet, right?
No. Okay, we're having to pull in pumps at least once a month to do a lot of maintenance to them. I'm really waiting for the day to get these pumps in. So I don't want to push it any further than what we have to.
They're probably.
I think it's been the year's been too long.
Why didn't you stipulate better? Okay. All right. Anything else on 12th Street?
Blame on Lisa.
Did they give you?
Yeah.
I know they said they were in transit, but did they give you any estimated time for delivery?
Soon.
Oh, great. That narrows it right down.
It'll be fine.
Okay. So we go to the water and wastewater system improvement project.
Just waiting on funding. Like,
Okay. Well, we still have not heard from the earmarks. And until we get the earmarks, yes or no, we're not going to do anything, because if we get the money, we don't have to do anything except go to work. If we don't, then that's when we'll delve into all of the other options that we have. Okay. It can't take much longer. It's been a while. And, so we'll see what happens. Dredging of pond run and dry dams is the same thing. That's the other project that we applied for federal funding for. And so, I did have a question for you, Mike. No matter how we end up funding that, what contractor that we have around here has the ability to dredge that pond run?
excavators. I mean, it's going to be a site person that does site work.
Actually, the Soil Conservation Department has a list of the contractors that do work for them all the time.
Is there anybody locally that can do it?
There is a gentleman in Ritchie County, I believe. So,
Okay.
but like any excavation company would be able to handle that.
So what do they do? Dam up pond run?
No,
Then how do you excavate it?
you can just excavate. You can try to do it in the dry season after July, but they'll go off or some fencing up and working sections. So,
Okay.
not. Last time I done by
Well,
Mr. Weigel. So
What would you estimate the time would be to dredge pond run?
I really don't know. I think Mr. Weigel done in the season last time, but that was for a lot of growth that's happened in the area since then. So I don't know.
Okay. All right. 28th Street storm damage improvements.
We okay? I had sent a group of proposed easements over to Russ.
But I had some questions.
Okay, we can talk. I got a set of draft drawings that for the easements are for the whole project, not just for phase. In fact, there's none on phase one. we're getting close to wrapping up the phase 1 plans, and we're almost complete with the specifications too. So I would think by this time next month we'll be ready to advertise. If we're going to advertise.
Okay. Um, well, we've been pretty fortunate. We've not had a major event like we've had in the last couple of years, so hopefully we can get some improvements done before we have another one of those major events. Any other questions on unfinished business?
That job, if you bid that out, that job will be done between June and middle of August, is that correct?
Sure hope it will be.
I mean, 'cause you're
Yeah.
talking about out of school.
Yeah.
If that would be, there's a lot of traffic on 15th Avenue, you don't go between that section.
Make
That's
it
gonna
one way.
hamper a lot of traffic.
Make it one way. Around the football field. When does it come into play about the minnows and all of that? July.
In the middle of June, July.
Spawning season.
I always thought my permits started in July, end of June, July, so that was just told me July, it could be now, so.
I'm sorry, you finished?
Yeah.
Okay, I had a question about this before we moved on.
Sure.
So last meeting, I know we discussed that we had submitted everything to Manchin's office and whoever on the federal level for funds, and that they were going to make a decision relatively quickly. And I know what government, you can't, that could be short time or a long time, who knows, right? But then you also mentioned that Amy was going to go over some of the numbers that we received back from Michael Griffith. And I'm just concerned because we've been talking about this for, I don't know, probably a year now. And, I did see phase 1, some numbers for the sewer. If we just to do phase 1, the bond rates on that. And that's not, of course, water. So I'm just wondering, when is this really going to come into tighter focus so we can try to make some plans? Because while I agree that looking for federal dollars is going to be great, I don't know if they're going to give us anywhere near what we need for any of these projects.
Well, we ask for full funding,
Okay.
and typically you either get it all or you get nothing.
Okay.
All right. And the numbers from Michael Griffith are done,
Mm-hmm.
but until we hear about the earmarks, there's no point in discussing those numbers. Because if we get the federal funding, then we won't have to do that. And at that point, if we do not get the federal funding, then we're going to have to make a decision as a board of what project you want to do first. And then once you make that decision, then you take the numbers that Michael Griffith has prepared in order to say this is what it takes to fund these improvements.
Right. So I was looking at the sewer numbers that were in the Dropbox for phase 1 of the sewer project, and those have been identified. And so, I mean, assuming, let's say they say, hey, no, we're not going to give you any money, then are we ready to figure out and pull the trigger on phase 1 and go through the whole process that's outlined? I think there was a schedule outlined too, how this is to go down.
That's a board decision.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I'm just trying to get
No,
it
I'm
to
just
come
saying.
before the board so we can move.
Yeah, but that's a board decision. Is just how do you narrow the scope down to say this is what we want to look at? Okay. And I'm not ready to have that discussion yet until we find out if we're going to get federal funding. Because if we get the federal funding, then we go to work.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then we're going to have all the discussions about the rate increases and all the stuff that it takes to generate those additional funds.
Right. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying then, because what's been sent to Mr. Griffith has phase 1 on sewer. I can just look at those. I don't know what the numbers are for water yet, whatever. But just looking at that, that phase one has been identified. Are you saying then we're not going, we would look at something different?
No, no, we don't have very many options here.
No.
If we don't get federal funding and we intend to take on these massive projects, then they have to be funded some way.
What you're saying, what I think you're saying is you want to wait until see if there's federal funding until we start collecting.
That is correct. And the reason for that is, you know, when you start talking rate increases and all that stuff, that's when it gets ugly. All right, because nobody wants a rate increase, and everybody starts looking at it, and it's like, I am not bringing up a rate increase subject until we have to go down that road.
I understand that, and that's not what I'm trying to do today. What I'm trying
No,
to understand.
I'm not saying that.
Well, what I'm trying to understand is phase one was identified as being, you know, the main force line or the trunk line in the 12th Street sewer replacement, and that was nearly $7 million just for phase one in sewer. That doesn't include phase two of sewer, which is the Woodland Heights, Forest Hills area, and it doesn't include phase one or phase two of any of the water projects. So I'm just trying to get at, if we are told no from the government that we're not going to get any money from them, are we ready then to have that discussion about phase one of the sewer and all the work that Michael Griffith has done regarding the bond, and the board to have a discussion of that and to move forward? And like I said, there's a schedule outlined how this would go, and obviously it would need to be updated a little bit because we're already behind on that schedule. It was just anticipated. They had to put some kind of dates in something to get it going. So
Yes.
So as soon as we find out yay or nay, if
Yes.
it's nay, are we ready to start that discussion on phase one of the sewer and the bond that Michael Griffith?
We're ready to have a discussion on water and sewer projects. Phase one doesn't really have anything to do with it. It's what does the board think is the priority for where do we want to go if we have to go that way.
Okay, so, all right. So then, do you then have bond information on phase two of sewer and then phase one and phase two of water?
No,
Okay.
no. That's a very long, involved process. And that's the reason when we started this, so that we could get the numbers prepared to make these applications for these federal funds.
Mhm.
The more prepared you are, the more well received your application is. Okay? Now, other than Craig, who wants it all, I'm not sure that the board has a defined path that they want to take. And that would be where the discussion would start, would be, all right, you know the projects that we need to get done. Where do you want to go? At that point, then you would establish how many dollars it takes to do it, and then you would figure out, all right, how are we going to do this? Now, the numbers that Michael Griffith has prepared for us are based on real numbers, okay? But until we determine whether or not we're going to get any federal funding or not, then it's pointless. You can't ask people to just reach out there in left field and pull numbers together based on a wish list. We now have to define it.
Just so I understand, because I'm trying to follow along to make sure that I'm able to keep it abreast. My understanding is that we have numbers prepared for certain sewer projects, and those everyone knows like your PFF numbers and see what how much increases would have to be, so to speak. So we have a general proposed project, and these are sewer projects. We have numbers prepared for those in the event that there's no federal funding. We've not actually approved any moving forward on any project. So right now we have preliminary numbers on two possible projects that we have prepared on those two, you call them phase one sewer projects. Is that where we're at?
Yes.
And we do not have numbers prepared through the accountant for any other phase, water or sewer, or any other project, water or sewer. Is that also accurate?
Yes.
And so we're waiting to prepare those numbers. We're waiting in part to see if we have federal funding, to see that it's even necessary to begin the process of doing the numbers and so forth. But the utility board has yet to approve any project. So right now we just have preliminary numbers on the most likely projects that we So that's where we're at.
Just on phase one of
On
the sewer.
phase
That's
one of
the
the
only,
sewer, that's all that we,
what, as far as in relation to Michael Griffin.
right.
I think we
But
have
that's the
numbers.
first, but that's the first step you have.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood where we're at, that there wasn't some numbers for the water part of the phase one. And I didn't have a recollection that we'd approved any projects formally or any water or sewer while we were waiting. Okay.
Yeah, no, we haven't. So my question was really just about a process question because this doesn't seem, this has been going on for a long time. And at some point in time, when is that going to be that we move forward? And what do we move forward with? Because the government's either going to say, yeah, we're going to give you the money, or no, we're not. So if it's no, we're not, what are we prepared to do? And from looking at what was in the Dropbox with phase one sewer and what the bond would be if we did that, and I know the board has to approve, and there's a whole bunch of things that need to happen. My question is that will we go to that phase one of the sewer and the numbers that Michael Griffiths has prepared and start working that plan?
Okay. Now, for me, and I'm sorry, I'm taking your question literally. I think the first step would have to be, you're either going to have to take a time period where to see whether there's federal funding. Once that time period passes, then you're going to have to consider which projects you're going to go on, and then you're going to have to start the process with Mr. Griffin to talk about servicing and do that and the funding source. I don't know when the utility board is going to actually do that. I think that's really your question. How much longer are we going to wait?
Right, because I don't know if the federal government has given a deadline of when they're going to announce who the recipients are going to be or not.
Turns out I'm not needed for this.
Are you aborting the mission already?
No, I just wanted to see that maybe I was missing something. You're asking a different.
And so part two, I guess, of this question then, because it raises another one for me. Because this is a board decision, and once we have some ideas about what the water projects would cost, then it will be up to the board. May say, hey, we don't want to start on the sewer project first, we want to start on a water project. So, I mean, Mayor, is that kind of what you're indicating as far as?
Whatever the direction of the board wants to go. Okay, obviously Craig's got finger on the pulse better than any of us do as far as needs and how much repair has to be done to various sections of our town. And so we would obviously rely on him to say, hey, this is, where I think the priority would be. And then the board would say, well, yes, that's great, or no, that's too much money, and we need to look at a different direction. Right now we're very fortunate that, the two projects that we've applied for have no critical timeline on them, so we're in pretty good shape as far as waiting out the federal government. It won't be much longer. But at any rate, I answered your question. Yes. Okay. As soon as we get an answer from the feds, then it's time to come back and say, okay, we're on our own.
And I have a question for you, Mayor. Have the feds given us, the federal government through their grant program or whatever, have they given us an indication of a date when this is likely to be?
No.
Possibly. So it's like everything else. You'll get an email that says, hey, you won.
Now, this will make the news because it's a lot of money. Somebody's going to get it. But it's interesting because, the three bridges that they've agreed to rebuild, it's in the thing. I mean, it's in paper, black and white. I've never received anything.
I haven't seen it.
They never do. I got, notification through a phone call that we received $745,000 to do Main Street Grand Central. I've still never gotten a thing. But yesterday, I got contracts from the Department of Highways saying, sign this, send us a check, and we're ready to do the construction. But I've never gotten a call from the governor's office or anything saying, you were selected for this grant cycle. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. So, all right.
So,
I'm pretty sure that when these earmarks come down, it'll make the front page.
So I have another question regarding earmarks, and I think that, by the way, the bridge thing, that's awesome. I mean, that's just like a miracle. The 28th Street drainage, I mean, how is that going to be funded? We haven't discussed that really, as far as I know. It could be, is that potentially one of the things that they could approve us for?
No.
No. So it's just water or sewer. So,
No, we
And
didn't,
just
we didn't
stormwater.
ask for that part of that.
okay.
Just stormwater.
Yes. Oh, I know it's a stormwater, but
You said water and sewer. I did water.
no,
Okay.
maybe I said it wrong. What I was trying to say
Yeah.
is what the federal government's considering are water and sewer projects. And so this 28th Street drainage project would not be a part of what's considered for money.
You know, the
Well,
worst
I
part
think
of
it was
this.
for infrastructure, wasn't it? It wasn't just, I know that they included a lot of stormwater projects in that grant money.
It's one of the approved things.
Yeah. So,
Okay, it is, but there's so much money out there in so many different pots that you have to apply to, the different areas that have all these funds in order to get in that. All right?
Mhm.
We don't have a development director, so we have no one that's out there. When Paul Thornton was here, Paul went to all the various meetings around the state to make sure we got the right contacts and all that. And so we basically have a grant writer that when we go to her and we say, hey, we'd like to apply for this grant, that's the only iron we have in the fire, so to speak. And so it's very difficult because these grants are very competitive because they're huge money. Have you seen the projects that Ravenswood is doing
Oh,
down there
yeah,
on the
yeah,
river?
yeah.
I mean, that is big. It's I think like a $10 million project.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
Oh
for
my
them.
gosh, unbelievably nice. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what it takes, and they hired an outside consultant
Mhm.
to do all that for them. And so, you know, we're either going to have to get someone to be a economic development person, or we're going to start having to hire outside people to go do that legwork.
Just wanted to make sure that 28th Street drainage project. That's, we're not talking about that as being part of the ARP. We're talking about separate grant type growth.
we haven't applied for any grants for that.
Okay, because I don't understand. I'm just trying to follow up. The 28th Street drainage project is small. The question is, can you use grant money to pay for it? What was the funding?
If you applied for a grant, absolutely.
Sure, there's lots
Let
of
me
them.
ask you. She's asked the question that she said, where is the funding? If we were to do the stormwater project.
If we do
where
it
would the funding
right
come
now,
from?
you take out stormwhere or you're going to take it ARPA.
Right, and that's where I was, what my
Right.
understanding was. That's an
Yeah, but I mean,
infrastructure
that's not going to touch it. I mean,
Well,
all
there's-
three phases is over $6 million. I
Right.
mean,
So
you
you're
have
saying-
1.2 left in ARPA, and not very much left in stormwater. Plus, you still have the pond run the dredging. So what I'm saying is, you take all these things and you start adding them up, it just keep you up at night because I'm sure it does,
So-
because it's a lot of money. I'm just trying to put the puzzle together.
right. I agree.
Stormwater is a general fund
Right.
project. It's
So
not,
is my
not
understanding.
utility board.
So
No.
my understanding.
Stormwater is general fund.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that.
So the answer is it'll either come from ARPA money that have to be reallocated, or from the stormwater fund, or as the mayor says, you're going to have grants to write grants to fund. I think that's the answer to the question.
Grants, or it can come out of capital
Or
reserves.
capital reserve.
Yes.
Well, I recognize it's stormwater, it's not water and sewer, and it's not tied to the enterprise fund. However, it's under the authority and the supervision of this board. So that's what I'm trying to get understanding about it.
I wasn't going to answer that. Sorry, I'll say it quiet.
Limbo. No better. Right.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. It just so we haven't applied for any grants at all for the 28th Street drainage. And have we applied for any grants for pond run dredging?
Yes.
Yes. I can't really say we haven't applied for the grants. I mean, it's in a. It's out there, right? I mean, it's not. I don't know what officially applied for a grant or not. Have we put it on the list of anybody? I know we have Pond Run, but I put that everywhere, and I've talked to Soil Conservation Department and everybody about that. I thought storm drain project upgrades, we have applied for money in the city from different agencies.
We have none active right now.
I thought we did. I thought that was part of the.
The trunk line.
I mean, we've asked for, like
the trunk
$7
line
million
to
to do
Parkersburg
these
for the
projects.
sewer
so-
main and pond run dredging are the two active ones now.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so then we'll go to new business. So Craig, you want to talk about the drainage at 4705 8th Avenue?
Yeah, as you all noticed, we have taken the house down and it is removed. We've had some couple of major storms in that particular area, and unfortunately, that footprint of that building is causing me issues because that is a sandy lumen material. I felt it would have perked a lot better than it has. It has retained water in it. I've cut a ditch to the channel in the back, which was a gravel pit, which has helped the drainage. You can see in this picture, there's stair line wet issues in the dirt. It's right here. See it? You all see that? And the reason that is that area where that house said, I feel that it's compacted that dirt where it's not letting the rain, the water to seep through it. So I know we've paid Burgess Niple for do some studies in that particular area about putting some type of retention system in there, like a gravel pit and different type of piping areas. To proceed with them, I think it cost estimates like $118,000 to have them do it. I come to you guys. Do you want to leave it this way? And I've already planted grass and seed on the outside. But I've left this area not seed and strawed. There's a couple options. We can leave it as it is, and just let flood and hold water for 3 or 4 days, which is upsetting neighbors. Or we can come in here in-house. I can dig this out approximately 4 foot deep. I can install a catch basin, send some lateral pipes out, perforated pipes outside that catch basin, and backfill with river gravel, with Typar and river gravel, and make it approximately a pit of a 50 by 50 by 4 foot deep. And then put the topsoil back on top and let it plant back grass. It'd just be a big rain garden. It would help the water dissipate quicker, or better than what it is. Okay. I have dug some holes in that area, and we get down about 3 foot. Excuse me. And we start hitting the sand and gravel bed mix. Okay. So that's the layer I need to get to. Right now, if that house being is compacted, first 1.5 feet is pretty hard dirt. It's not letting any water go through it. So here I'm asking you all, do you want us to do it in-house? I ran the numbers on with the stone fill and the pipe. It's going to be about, with using city employees, trucks, and equipment. I might have to rent an excavator, bigger one, but it's going to be about a $10,000 job. Or we can let it sit there and hold water, or we can do an agreement with Burgess Niple, have them come and design a much bigger system. And it costs, an old cost about $118,000. So
No, you can't.
I don't care. You can
Move to
ask.
Vienna and get elected, Junior. Jeez.
I'll ask you a question.
So, which way y'all want to proceed on this? I mean,
Well, first off, the complaints are only coming from one neighbor. The neighbor on the other side has called me multiple times and said, if you'll just leave this alone, it'll be fine. Okay?
the guy's moving.
I have no knowledge of him moving. Okay?
Guy to the right, or guy.
Okay? But having said that, I agree with you. The reason why there's any issue at all is because that surface water is laying there.
Mhm.
It's not soaking in as fast as was.
We'd hope.
Yeah. Okay. And so if you dig the hole and you put the river gravel in, which doesn't pack, so the water will go down through it, it'll take care of that surface water. I don't think there's any question it'll take care of that.
Much quicker release, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, if there's no surface water standing there, so you don't have, any mosquito beds or anything else like that, and the grass takes and we can get some, grass growing up there, I mean, that solves that problem.
Correct.
Because originally, when we went down this road with this thing, we were going to bury a tank, we were going to capture the water, we were going to let it slowly dissipate out like we did on 40th Street.
That's the $118,000 budget.
Yeah. Okay. What is your recommendation?
I still feel it'll work if we take a hard pack surface out and backfill it with gravel, dig the pit there, pit the laterals out in-house with a catch basin. I'm not talking 10 foot deep. I'm talking 5 foot deep, whatever. Heavy rain, yes, there should be water sitting there, but it won't be sitting there in a day. Okay. But we made a hole in that and let water go in, and it did not stay in a day. We dug a 6 foot hole that filled up with water. It was gone the next day. So.
And that's the whole object here is to,
So I would like to do it. It'd be much cheaper if we did it in a house and dig the pit, haul the dirt out, backfill pit type part down, pit backfill with gravel, and seed and straw. I think we shouldn't have any problem. Okay. Now, in the future, we might have to go back in there and increase the size of that, or do how well it's going to work up towards 9th Avenue. But, I'd like to give it a shot.
Is this option number 4 you're talking about?
Option 4.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4 different options in here. So what you're talking about, which your recommendation, is it option number 4? I just want to make sure I understand.
My recommendation isn't in that option. It's not in Burgess and Niple's
Okay,
option.
Okay. Okay, so the Craig option costs how much?
$10,000.
$10,000, because I think the cheapest option was $185,000.
Okay. 208, and I'm looking at construction costs and that, 211, and goes up. So I'm just saying we can do it in house with manpower, and the cost would be 60 feet of pipe and a catch basin, $800 catch basin. The most cost is in the stone. And if I could get a decent deal on river gravel, it'd be cheaper than that. But I'd just say that's your max cost you're going to have in it on materials. Okay. Or we can just dig a bigger hole and cut all it down 4 foot and see what it does.
I don't think that's the answer.
Just give me options. So.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the answer because all you're going to do then, I mean, once it grasses in, it'll be a nice addition to the neighborhood. You dig that thing 4 foot deeper, you're going to end up with nothing but a hole.
Hole in the ground. Nice or
Well, it won't be attractive. I know that.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Okay. I mean, I think we should try the catch basin and the gravel because of the cost. Okay.
That's what you all agree with. We can start on in a couple weeks. I need to get it dried up a little bit. Maybe June. We can start on it.
Yeah, I mean, if that will alleviate the immediate need of flooding in the area and looks nice, I'm all for that.
Yeah. So
I don't live up there, so I don't know what the flooding is. But
currently, I mean, it has a nickname. That's how
Corner.
bad that it's filled up. But so if I'm understanding this correctly, Craig, what you're saying is the catch basin, the gravel, the topsoil, we grow grass, it looks nice, it gets mowed, and around $10,000 to do that.
Yeah.
It's a very conservative approach, and I think that's fine. My other question is, around 9th Avenue, when we have a heavy enough storm, that they they get a lot of the road floods, and it's a problem. I guess there's no way to know how this would impact it. If that would help alleviate some of the problems that happen one avenue over.
Well, that's, you see, I left the curb on that particular project. I left the curb there because it does control some of the water that goes in there, to see how it did. And it flooded last time. Of course, it had some good rains, and it was a wet time of year. That curb kept a lot of water back, which kept it in that pipe, which kept the backflow water on 9th Avenue. If this works with the gravel and the catch basin, then I can remove the curb, allow more water to go in there, and just kind of do it in phases. I haven't disconnected the pipe; it is upstream a little bit, but the more it'll handle, the more I'm gonna open it up. If that makes sense, okay? So I can relieve the pressure that runs along 8th Avenue up to that stream, make it go in there, and it'll dissipate within a couple of days. That's going to relieve the pressure that's on 9th Avenue and let the flow come through. So,
Mhm.
okay. I don't want to do it all at once.
No, yeah, certainly.
But the back part that has gravel in it is gone next day. The house was, it stayed there and stayed there and stayed there. It would not penetrate that dirt.
I mean, I saw somebody get a kayak out, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
anything.
no, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen pictures. That kayak had a hole in it too. So, so we want to do the gravel in-house thing. Is that what we all agreed to? Or
I would make a motion to do that because I think that's the most conservative approach. I don't want to go and spend a ton of money if we
we don't
don't
have it.
have to, and we don't have it really. So
Well, it's not really an agenda item, so we can't take a vote on that, but
It's
as a
it's a
discussion
recommendation
point.
Okay.
anyway. So
Okay.
Yeah, let's just have it on the next.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't even have to do that,
Nah,
Steve.
nah.
We're just discussing procedures here.
yeah,
Okay. I
kinda-
mean,
you all know.
does anybody have an objection to Craig's plan to put in the gravel?
I thought that's what we're gonna do in the first place.
Well,
Just-
I mean, it's down to it.
You guys
And
are
I, you know,
on.
Craig, I mean, I kept getting all these messages about Lake Norman and all this nonsense. And it's like, you got to give it a chance to perk and see how fast the water will drain. Well, now we know.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it needs to be opened up and, you know, somewhere for the water to go. But it is not a lot of water. It's not,
No,
but it's more than is acceptable in that position right there.
yeah. And next year, if it works well, then next year we'll be planting some trees, some wildflowers and stuff like that in there. Make it more like a little park setting more than anything.
Anything to draw the moisture.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Russell?
Actually, I would like to ask my question in hindsight.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on. The SCADA system discussion.
Okay, as you all know, I reported last month that the EP come in or EPA come in and for our facility, everything looked great. Very few issues they had, but their main concern issue was our SCADA system. Our SCADA system is in working condition. I mean, it will control what we need to do, but the distributor of the SCADA system that writes the programs is no longer in business or alive. So any maintenance that we have to do that, I have nobody to go to. The EPA, they had a problem. They wanted to upgrade the program. They had a problem because our current SCADA system only keeps backlog of a day's worth of time. And they want to see what happens last year, 2 years ago, any kind of emergencies or any kind of issues that we had. Ours won't do that. So I asked, I'd come in, he has to jump from out Cincinnati, is that correct? Come in, look at our system, see what it takes to upgrade, see how our system is, if it's in bad shape or it's terrible shape. Actually, it's not in bad shape. It's just the program itself. Our in-field system on the water is good. We can use it in a lot of the products. Is that correct? Also, I had him look at the sewer. Now, sewer SCADA system is non-existent. We don't have one. And I asked him, I said, we're going to do this program. I would like to do it for both departments. Um, so I can keep record and control things from computer. Okay. When I say SCADA, that's your warning system, like your pumps go down. That's how you turn your pumps on and off for your water flow and your sewer system. You know, we're out every day manually out and checking the lift stations. Sometimes we don't catch them. You know, the guys check it Saturday morning. They leave 5 minutes later, that lift station goes down. Nobody really knows. It does have a flashing red light on them on the lift stations, but if it does go down, sometimes people don't call. So it has a possibility of backing up and overflowing, which we do not want. The SCADA system, it would actually send a dialer out to whoever's on call, say, hey, you have a failure at lift station at Fremont and 13th Avenue, or stormwater lift station also. You know, we have an issue. Pump stopped running, 5 minutes ago at 41st Street in front of the Vienna School. Okay. So he come in, looked it over, and asked him to what it would cost, ballpark what it would cost, and do a task order for you all approve so he can finish up design work and we can get this out to bid. If you all want to do the job. So that's up to you.
If you want to do what?
If you want to do the job, do the project.
Well, I don't think we have a choice.
We don't. Might just be nice. But so, so,
That's refreshing.
yeah.
You know, but we don't have a choice. The
Right.
SCADA system is the brain for that whole system.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we have is no longer serviceable. It's just unfortunate that the gentleman died, but
Great guy, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it worked great for years too.
Yeah.
But how much is this task order?
That's the next item. So
Did you want to talk the task order? You want to give the overall cost first?
we can get over cost and you can get your task order next time. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what we did is we went and actually talked to some people, so we knew about what it was going to be. They gave us a budget between $300,000 and $325,000 for the construction part of it.
So what all does that entail, Mike? Replacement of what we have now or any upgrades?
The water system is almost no work to it, but for the pump stations, we're going to have to be able to talk back and forth. So it's going to be the telemetry equipment out there, and then it's going to have to come back here. So we'll have to have an upgrade here with your equipment, and then it's the programming that says, hey, there's a problem here. What do we do?
Okay, so on the water side, is it a complete replacement of our existing system, or is it going to be new software to run our system, or what are we getting for our money?
Yes, for the water, yes, it would just be new programming. And then we would supplement with a new.
There is a couple upgrades to it. It's 90% of it's going to be existing, but 10% of there's an upgrade on the chlorinators and a couple of radios in our booster station. That kind of stuff. Sewer, it's all new. Each lift station, so there's 18 of them. The radios on.
So the bulk of the cost is in the upgrade for the sewer system?
All on there now.
Yeah, it's not big, but
Is it a standalone system, or is it gonna have to go into our Segra system?
it's standalone. It's not our Segra system.
Good, I don't
The
want
only thing
anything
you
else in
tie
that.
in your Segra system would be your call out, be able to call out individual.
But the actual communication between the lift station and,
Radio based or cellular based in the sewer. I haven't really decided yet. All depends how much the monthly fee would be in the cellular base.
does anybody have any questions about the operation or the equipment on the SCADA system before we go to the next part of this? All right,
Hope pay for that without ARP money.
I'm sorry.
Hopefully we could pay that out of ARP money. Is that correct?
It could be, yes,
Well, that's what I'd like to do. So
but you have no say.
You're true.
The
I'm just
people that
putting it
sit
on my
down in
wish
the
list.
big,
Yeah.
in the big
I
building.
ask for
okay?
everything, just try to grab what I
There
can.
you
So,
go.
okay.
Yeah, that's, yeah, okay.
Free money. That's what we want.
That's a good investment, Rob, okay?
That's it. Yes. Talk about his.
Mm-hmm.
We go to
Jeez.
task order then.
Okay, so you guys should have a copy of it. It'll be, first part's gonna be a study, basically, is to look at some of the alternatives, advantages, disadvantages. The big one, like Craig said, is how do we communicate back and forth? Is it cellular or radio based? So the first thing we would do is kind of do that report, come back and present it to you guys so we can finalize what we would be designing. There's no difference for design either way. It's just preference on, for Craig, I guess, is really what it is, cost and his preference. Then once we did that, we will go out and actually coordinate with the suppliers, contractors, programmers, to determine what kind of hardware and software we would need. Then we would actually put together the bidding documents, construction drawings, and specifications, come back with a final cost estimates, and then assist through the bidding process. The design, well, the report through the design, that would be $49,800, and then the bidding assistance would be $5,000. So a total of $54,800.
I want to say something before we got. And everybody talks about Scada anymore. But everybody kind of worries about hacking. We don't open our system up like that. We're not internet-based system. Okay, so it has nothing to do with that. We keep ours in-house and locked down. We don't open up to the outside internet or use the internet. Okay, it's all on Wastewater radio or cellular base. It's communication directly to us and no one else. It's not hack proof. 99%, yes. Okay, we're not a cellular or a internet-based system.
And we're not switching it.
Yeah.
Questions, comments?
Seems like it has to be done.
EPA pretty well said that, yes.
Okay, there's no questions or comments, then I'll entertain a motion for the approval of task order 2023-08 for the SCADA system design and bidding phase services.
So moved.
Moved and seconded that we approve the task order 2023-08. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the approval of task order 2023-08? Who's going to do this, Mike?
Which part? I mean, our guy in Cincinnati is going to do it because he's the SCADA expert.
So we can get this done fairly quickly?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, unless there's something I don't know about, I mean, we should at the next meeting be talking about what we're going to do as far as, I mean, it's not a long report. It's just kind of talking about the options and laying it out so we know better cost on which way you guys want to do it.
Okay.
So it's
I mean,
pretty quick.
I just know that we have several projects in line with you guys right now, and I don't want to.
Yeah, we're not doing, in Parkersburg, we're not doing much. And he doesn't, he's already been there, so he doesn't need to come back. So.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of task order number 2023-08, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Okay. So that'll take care of that. Item number D this afternoon is the approval of a bid from Matheny Motor Truck Company in the amount of $56,288 for a 3/4 ton pickup truck with a utility body. We went out for bid Matheny Motor Truck was the only company that did submit a bid. Craig, tell us about your truck.
Yeah, this replaces what, it's a 96, unit 96, which is an '06 GMC. And for our rotation program on vehicles, this truck should have been replaced in 2013. So we're 10 years behind the rest replacing it. And it wasn't an accident. So we spoke to the insurance. The value on the truck's not there. We're going to sell it in public auction. They did consider it being totaled or damaged beyond what it's actually worth. So it's not suitable for us to drive anymore or suitable for to actually be repaired, because if you repair it, it's going to be above the value of the truck. So I asked Matheny's what they had in stock. They spec this truck out. We talked about it, and this is a 2023 now, isn't it? Extra cab 4-door pickup truck, utility body on it. And what we're going to do is give this into my current foreman and send his truck down the line to the operators and crew leaders. Okay. They do have this truck in stock. So I actually have 3 of them. If you guys want to buy more than one, we'd appreciate it. But they do have it in stock. And once you guys approve it today, I'll call him. And 2 to 3 days, he'll have Monday, that truck will be here. So, okay. So that's good. So, nice truck. Cheap price, actually, for pickup trucks anymore.
Any questions for Craig? All right. And I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the bid from Matheny Motors in the amount of $56,288 for a 2023 3/4 ton pickup truck with a utility body.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the bid from Matheny Motor Truck Company. Is there any further discussion? All right, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the bid from Matheny Motor Truck in the amount of $56,288, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? All right, so we move to the second phase of this. This is the financing part. We opened bids this morning at 10 o'clock. We received 2 bids for the financing of this truck. West Banco submitted the following bids. For 3 years, the interest rate was 5.80%. The 4-year interest rate was 5.80%. The total amount funded for 3 years would be $61,874. The 4-year amount would be $63,662. The second bid we received was from United Bank, and the 3-year term would be 4.55%. The 4-year term would be 4.75%. The amount financed from United for 3 years would be $60,323.40. And the amount financed for 4 years would be $61,915.68. Those are the 2 options that we have. Well, actually, there's 4 options, 2 from each bank, but United Bank, their interest rate is cheaper and their total repayment would be cheaper. So the bid from United Bank is the recommended amount. Craig, are we going for 3 or 4-year financing on this?
We used to do 3-year on pickup trucks and longer on big, large dumps. So we've always done 3 years before.
Fine. So, is there any discussion on the bid amounts? Or
This
the
be
term?
paid for by all 3 funds or
Actually, this comes out of sewer department.
sewer?
All right. Anything else? And I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the 3-year rate from United Bank at 4.55% for the financing of a 2023 3/4 ton pickup utility body.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the financing from United Bank for 3 years at 4.55%. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the financing, please signify by raising your right hand. All right, all opposed, motion carries. All right, so,
Apologize about, we just had a bid opening this morning, so I couldn't get him a drop box earlier. but Lori got them in as quick as she could. Hope you guys got a chance to review it. It's kind of an emergency situation. We did put up the bid. Hopefully that won't happen again, but we'll get in there a little earlier when we get the actual packets out. So,
All the information's there, every
Yeah.
bit of it.
right.
So that, you can look at it. It's pretty straightforward. All right. The last item on our agenda this afternoon is the annual review of the stormwater management program.
Every year as part of the program, you need to do a review. The plan is on the website if anyone needs to look at it. If you can, at the next meeting, come with any questions or comments, and we can discuss it then.
Craig?
That's fine. I mean, it's what we do all the time. So look at it. I have no issues with it. So
All right. So we go to manager's report.
we've been busy. Doing a lot of things. Department wise, we've been doing a lot of stuff all around the city. So mainline breaks this month has been down. We've had a couple of service line leaks. We replaced them. We're going to start with the project probably the next month on the Lonsdale Drive, Lonsdale Lane, beside Spencer Landing and the golf course. Try to get them people in the water. I have not heard anything back from the DEP, EPA, or Comores reference to any assistance on that. Hopefully they'll come back with their testing that will offer some assistance, but we're ready to go. We have the materials on hand. We'll be doing it in-house. We should have it done in less than a week.
Are all the residents down there coming on board?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, they've been waiting. They've all signed off. So, yeah.
Do we have right of ways for that?
We're going to do it inside the Lonsdale Drive right away, Lonsdale Lane right away. So, yes. Actually, the residents have been really helpful because there's a lot of private lines in the area, and they've all come out and located lines with us. We've GPS them in. So, whether existing gas lines are, or sewer force mains are. So we've had gas line locations, so we're all good. We're going to use our ditch witch goes in front of a Bobcat. Willis should be able to take off and run pretty quickly. It's just a 2-inch line, so we can put it in. There shouldn't be any issues. Very few tie-ins. The tap's already made, so we hadn't made it when we do the River Road project. So we'll also probably put a tap or towards Spencer Landing just to get some water over there if we need to. Not no length of pipe, just put a 3/4 inch tap in that area. While we're there, so
Okay. Before you move on, there's been some discussion, I don't know if you've all followed it in the newspaper or not, about Spencer's Landing and the installation of restrooms. And I did have a conversation this week with Derek Hancock, who's our liaison with the DEP, and there are absolutely no issues whatsoever. Derek thanked us because every time we do anything down there, we always call him first and keep him in the loop. And so whenever we get ready to do the water and the sewer, there will be no issues as long as you stay out of those restricted areas, which we won't go in them anyway.
No.
Okay. But there are no issues with the DEP with any of that down there. So when we get ready to determine where that bathroom location will be, it will be nothing more than just he's got aerial maps, he's got surveys, everything, and just, keep them in the loop, and we're in good shape.
We have them Mary's GPS in also, so
Yes.
we know exactly where they're at. So.
Absolutely. So, and the stormwater issues with the drainage and what have you, they're absolutely 100% on board with all of that new area that Craig's trying to get the grass growing on. And so they have no issues with us at all with any compliance issues, none.
That's really sprouted up last couple of weeks. They're really starting to get a real good green tint to it, so I'm happy that the geese didn't eat it all. So either they did and it come out and it was fertilizer, but grass seed did, they survived, so it was good. It's really popping up, so it's really looking nice down here. I got to say, I I love that flat area, and you know, I keep my mind sees the amphitheater, but I don't know, maybe just me. But, you know, something that's one of my wish lists. So something
Okay.
down there. So I'd love to see Freedom Festival down there at some time before I
That'd be
retire.
great.
You know, so
Okay. So anything else for you?
May 6th, if y'all get a chance, Big Truck Day, Fort Park. Come on over, get play on some equipment. Look at our equipment. Parks will have their equipment there, and us, we'll have some equipment there, and some of the other Athenes. I think Harper will have a couple pieces.
911's coming. The
911,
bus,
great
you
for
know.
kids. Absolutely love it. 3 hours. So, I like playing bingo this Saturday. Freedom thing, go to bingo. There's a great guys gonna be walking around selling tickets or 50-50 tickets and tear off. So he'll make you buy some. He's a nice guy. So gotta pay for it some way. Just guys, I know it doesn't sound like we do much because I don't cover every little thing that we do, but the guys have really been busting butt the last couple of weeks or last month. So this nice weather, we've been out doing a lot of stuff. So if you see him, you know, tell him thanks or something. I'd appreciate it.
You did finish the new water project up on Colony Drive. We should not have any issues with that again.
Yes, you're right.
That project right there, I mean, it was the one that was originally underneath the garage, and Craig had routed it around the garage. And then there was some problems because of the low-lying area up there, and so now it's completely gone. It's all brand new, so that should not be an issue ever again.
It was 120 feet of 6-inch.
The guys all did it
Got a
in-house.
new
So,
hydrant in, made a couple new taps, so
yep.
should take care of that. No sewer backups, nothing. So yeah,
Okay.
going well.
Questions for Craig? Okay. Comments today, Kim?
No,
Questions?
no, I'm good, thank you.
John?
No,
Steve?
sir.
All right. Russell?
Colony Drive or Conley?
I'm
Colony.
not saying a word.
That was way-
I can't get it right either
Colony.
way. So
I listened to it like 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Did say that.
Yeah.
I can't get it right for some reason. I don't know why that one is. I just can't get that one right. So
Okay.
when you even mention that, I think, where's that at? So
Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, then meeting adjourned.